First of all, thank you for taking the time to switch things up, because you're either wanting to grow your gym business or you're literally trying to get your next 100 people in there so you can make a decision to get one gym bigger or to grow a second gym. Either way, it's all good. I'm just glad that you made the decision to jump in. And what we're going to do is talk about your similarities to some of the greatest people that have ever lived. Now, I used to watch Steve Jobs, and he used to rock the black t-shirt, and this has a lot to do with who we are today. And Steve Jobs was known for wearing the same shirt, eating the same breakfast, and doing everything succinctly every single day. And I will just always wonder, what does he get out of that? And what he was escaping, just like you, my friend, was what we call decision fatigue. And see, that's where you're crowding your mind up with all of this daily stuff that's really not impacting your life. And it just loads your brain. So when it's time to make big decisions about with your operations, it impacts you exponentially. It totally leaves no room for the real decisions. The real decisions that it leaves no room for the decisions that you actually have to make. So what did we do? I realized that there has to be concepts that help us. So there's a term we call compensatory control. And when you're having the day-to-day hustle and bustle of what we call busy work, those decisions that, you're making arrangements with the equipment, you're going back and forth about tedious things, you're not really implementing systems. You're constantly just operating off a daily impulse, and that is draining you. So what I decided to do is start infusing this term called compensatory control. And compensatory control is when you focus on simplifying your life by wearing the same gear every single day and doing the same process the exact same way. And what does that do? It helps you target the real things that sit in your brain, and it allows you to stop doing the little busy work. Like I said, going back and forth with people that's not really doing anything for the growth of the company is where you got to start. I made the same mistake until you start diving deeper into what is this thing really doing? What am I actually scaling? Why am I waking up every single day starting all over from scratch like I didn't do this yesterday? I just did the same move yesterday. So how do I get out of this vicious cycle? Anxiety every time I don't start my ritual in the day. And this is where you make these decisions. And what the decision to jump into that will help you is starting to do things that are simplified, and it only has minimal space in your brain. And that's where you can start doing things more effectively in your life and stop going into that vicious cycle, waking up back at square one. It's like Groundhog Day. So as an operator of a business, we find that here are things that you'll need to implement to separate you from your old self. And your old habits, they got you some benefits, but they also kept you in a cycle where it prevents you from leveling up. So maybe you agree, maybe you've overcome that somehow, some way. Someone's dropped $1 billion bag on your front porch. But if that's not you, you want to get yourself out of that space in that gym, then this is exactly how we're going to go about it. Because what you're used to doing is rushing to the thing that feels right now. What you have not got accustomed to doing is doing the things that got your grandfather money in his pocket, that got those guys who are now sitting at companies like Kellogg's, Amway, companies that have done it the old-fashioned way. The guy who's had a lawnmower service for 60 years, the air conditioning company, the guy who broke the bread, made the bread by putting the company on his back and knocking on doors. We're getting back to the guerrilla marketing effect of things, because what you got to think about is, why did you get to this place? because you're focusing on busy work. So this is what it's going to look like when you talk about building your gym. This goes for any business, a gym business, anything in the health and wellness industry, entrepreneurship. It's all about process. So you have to practice these things. Number one, first, you got to get up and you got to touch real people, right? So if you're in a gym business or you got a place where there are people occupying it, what you want to focus on is getting them in there and utilizing what we call affinity marketing. They have an affinity for you because they're working directly with you, right? Well, guess what? 1 degree from them is the person that's closest to them. That's family, that's co-workers, and those are friends at the end of this pedestal. So what we have to focus on is building this thing every single day the exact same way and stay away from busy work, right? And this is how it looks. Number one, we're going to get directly into immediate referral program. Not the way that you like it or despise it, but the way that it actually makes you look like a rock star. First, we're going to work inside. And if you got 150, if you got 200 members, we're going to get the next 100 people by doubling the people you have inside. So we're going to use first, one of the things that we get into is social events, internal social events. Member appreciation days. When you got a member appreciation day, the member realizes that you appreciate them. You're going to have food. You're going to have sporting events. You're going to utilize things that actually bring a form of an affinity, right? Things that doesn't seem like work. And we start to catapult that conversation every single day. If you want to simplify things, you have to put it in a place where you have a playbook, right? So what we've had to do is not just start doing the things, but we had to wake up and implement compensatory control. Because anything that you do, it needs a playbook, or it needs to be inside of the playbook so that you don't have to figure things out again, because you're doing exactly what worked yesterday in today. And that's how you see companies like Post Cereal, Apple, Amazon. They've created the playbook so that no matter what happens to you, it's still a business, it's still a company, and it can still thrive. Now, once we get to a place where we're inviting our internal people to a social gathering, our focus is to have systems in place to make sure that we get the most out of that event. People like good things. I know when I was in school, I used to throw parties when my mom would go out of town, and I would do like same day invites, whole neighborhood, cars all over the place. I was like Risky Business with Tom Cruise back in the 80s. I mean, I literally had neighborhoods filled with cars. Now, my audience wasn't rowdy. They just wanted to enjoy time. And even though we were young teenagers, our objective was to just have an abundance of fun and include the people that we like being around. That was simple. So that's the same energy we go out there with. Then the next component to it is really going out into the community and inviting people who are like the first responders, the people who are actually serving the community, other local business owners, and it just continues to catapult. People walking down the street, we make sure that they have something really, really palpable that they can read, digest in a second, because you don't want to be complicated. So when we talk about attracting your next 100 members, we're just not talking smoking guns and will this marketing work? No, this marketing gets you to the place where you can start marketing digitally, and you don't have to worry about, oh, well, it doesn't really work. That guy came in and he did this. I know you've had that experience where a guy came in and promised this and that, but what he didn't tell you is this just is one component to building. And there are 5 components to marketing: publicity, public relations, advertising, promoting, and then sales. All of these are relevant. If you don't have these in place, then you're going to find yourself going in a vicious cycle. And that's why you need a system, right? That's the most important part of this thing. Push, make it happen, and then allow the kind of people that you've attracted, the people who come into your facility and they are more likely to stay, then that's what you do. And this is how you keep it simple, and this is how you make the business money on autopilot when you start implementing the ads and duplicating the best people that came from that ward of people that you went out and got. You will find out based on their behaviors if they were the perfect avatar for you. So this is the first juncture in going into this. Now, once you get going, there are back end things that you need to concentrate on that you were doing first before, keeping you from the real important things, which is getting some grass to cut. You know what I mean? Getting some air conditioners to fix, selling some beauty products, selling the vacuum cleaner, getting the milkshake onto a shelf at McDonald's. These are busy things, but you have to do the real work first. You have to go out and get the people that reflect who you are. Your vision is your thing, but the vibration, your vibe attracts your tribe, and you got to go out and get your tribe. No, there's no magic pill for that. But I tell you what, social gatherings and parties, we just did one and it had a tremendous turnout. And when you got the systems in place to make sure those people come into play, again, they get tapped, they get touched, they get invited, they get drawn right back to the thing that they want. Now, there are things that you have to be brought up to speed on how to do, and we'll have a school for that, for you guys to have a real sit down place where you can learn. Now, if you want to learn it yourself, you can dive right in and stay there. If you're in a place that you say, hey, I'm kind of too busy, I need it done for me, then that is the massive dive in, and that is where companies like myself have it taken over and amplify that thing, because we got a lot of experience in it. I know it really works. It's the game changer. It's why these companies can duplicate themselves. And when you can do that, hell man, you got the formula to decide not only are you going to max this gym or this business, but am I going to open this up and put everything that I just did in the briefcase, and I can do what we call a turnkey business. A turnkey business is the owner doesn't even need to be on the planet. He can be on Venus. No one cares, because we have the operations. All we need is competent people that know how to read, and 3 people to make a company. First, the creator. That's the person whose idea was to start it, got the LLC, and they said, I need someone next to me who can make this real. That's the specialist number 2. That's the person who's doing graphics and websites and social media and knowing how to do the marketing, or it's the person to do the legal work. They make it real. They turn it into the thing now people can actually see it. And then the third person, the manager, the person that makes sure you reaches and hit the person that hits the goals. They make sure everybody's doing their responsibility, and they're making sure that there is no holes in the actual day-to-day processes. And that helps the goals become achieved, and that just simply helps the goals get reached. And if you can do that, then that's what you call a business. If you can do this, business will definitely become turnkey. When you have all the things that you need, and you got compensatory control, and you're not dealing with decision fatigue, that's the likes of a great leader, a great company, and a thriving business. That is what you're about to dive into right now with the 100 Playbook. 100 member Playbook is all about getting that first 100 fresh new members, and it's beautiful. So let's stop talking, let's get into it. Everybody who took part in this, you can look back in a little short time, and you'll look back and say, I was overthinking everything, and I was doing way too much and not doing the right thing. Now you can do the right thing. For a lot of people, you know that you're super busy. I have a lot of key influential people that follow me that run organizations and sanctioning bodies that say, I definitely don't have any of the time to do this. How can I implement this whole thing? And that's just where you ask questions, you set up a call, and then you just find out what it looks like for you, because what it looks like for them won't be what it looks like for you. You're into more scaling things, getting it, putting it in, having systems in place, and watching it grow. If you're into watching it grow, then boom, make sure you set up a conversation where you can learn more about what that looks like. Even though in the middle of your brain, you really know, I just need the thing, let's make it happen. If you want to make it happen, then just take your time and say, schedule a call. SAC. SAC. Coach Bradley, and I'm signing out. Be blessed and good luck. Let's get this thing going. Dive into the school group, because we're going to be here giving you daily focus, not inspiration. I'm not going to inspire you. You are inspired enough. We got to get line items. We got to do daily processes. We got to stay on task. Don't underestimate the power of coaching, and don't ever leave out of that bedroom without compensatory control aligning and leading you, because you need to keep everything simple in your life. And if it's not simple in your life, that means it's complex, and the brain hates chaos. So you're tired of chaos? Let's get ready to get rid of the chaos. Coach Bradley, and I'm signing out. Let's go. This is Launch Pro with the 100-member Playbook. Let's go.